Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. This is Skylar and Pedro, and check it out. Today we're going to be doing a deck tech of my deck, Henzie the Toolbox Torre, and this was a pre-con, but it is heavily upgraded. And basically, the gist of it, each creature spell you cast with a mana value 4 or greater has Blitz. The Blitz cost is equals to its mana cost. Blitz costs 1 less for each time you cast your commander from the command zone. So, basically, if he dies, we'd like to bring him back. And we blitz out big creatures, big creatures. And when they die, they draw a card. So, and they come in with haste. Can't forget that. But starting off the deck, we'll put him to the side over here. Because he is a devil, I know this first card right here. Blinkness, the adversary. Pull this out of a pack. Casualty X comes out with a copy of itself. But if you control demon or devil, you gain 2 life. Each opponent loses 2 life and they discard a card. Unless they discard a card. But basically, it kind of racks with our commander. Teal Primal Storm, 4 or greater mana cost, so 6 splits out. But when he attacks, we get a card from each opponent's library, and we can cast it without paying its mana cost, and it has haste, and when it dies, it's going to replace itself. Disciple of Bolus, when it enters the battlefield, sacrifice another creature. You gain X life and draw X cards. So basically, if we play this and we play this first, attack, do our thing. Second main phase, play this. Sacrifice this, draw 6 cards, technically 7 because it died, and then we gain 6 life. So it kind of helps the deck going. And this is Jaxus the Troublemaker. Discard a card to create a token. Create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control. It gains haste. When this creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the end step. So just a little synergizing with the Blitz. This right here, Conduit of Ruin, looks for any colorless cards 7 or greater. First creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less. So that just makes it cheaper for us. And it searches for some of our big colorless hitters, which we do have in here. And this is another sacrifice outlet. Gives us treasure tokens. Sacrifice X artifact, return target creature card power X or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. X can't be 0. So another way to recycle. Of course, you have Solemn Simulacrum. He already looks for his land and draws a card. So if we blitz him out, he's going to draw 2 cards and look for 1 land. Chaos Warp. Titan of Industry. Nice little card from New Capana. But when it enters battlefield, choose 2. And this is actually pretty nice. Pretty nice right there. Derail of Possibility. Alternative artwork. Little card draw, discard a card in case we have something we don't need right now. Just draw 2 cards. This little Chupacabra. But it gets to destroy a target creature when an opponent controls. So blitz it out, destroy something, draw a card, replace it. Gamekeeper, when it dies, exile it. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield. So blitz him out. Let him die. Get something crazy off the top of our library to hit the battlefield. Got a nice little swamp. Timeless Witness. Just return a creature card or return any card from our graveyard to our hand. Nice little foil right there. Another land. Another land. Mana Dwarf. Add black, red, green. Another green. Another red. Another land. Now we gotta have some rampant here, so rampant growth. You guys already know what that does. This is Underworld Sentinel. When it attacks, exile target creature card from a graveyard. When it dies, put all cards exiled with it onto the battlefield. So basically, if we blitz it out 1 time, we get to exile 1 thing, get it back. But if we just play it for its regular cost and it just attacks, then we get to get stuff back. Now this is the Riveteer's Charm. I left this in here just because he is that Riveteer. And has its effects. Has 3 options, so just left it in there just to keep it. Now this is the Ulamog. Ceaseless Hunger, the colorless card I told you we can go grab. And if this gets blitzed out, we get to exile 2 target permanents as indestructible. When it attacks, exile the top 20 cards of his or her library. So nice little card right there. Do some damage, but this thing, if we blitz it out, it creates a token of itself as it deals damage to a player. So basically, it's gonna die, draw itself back, and then we get to get it back. Have a copy of it stay on the field. Corvold, Fey Curse King, 2 colorless, black, red, green. When he attacks or enters the battlefield, sacrifice another permanent. When you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Corvold. Got to be careful with it, because if you don't have much things to sacrifice, you have to do it. So be careful with that, but when it does come out, it's a problem, as long as you have your board set up. And this is a way we can sacrifice stuff and have it blitz out and basically get it back to the battlefield for fairly cheap, just 1 black. So imagine sacrificing Ulamog, paying 1 black, and then getting it right back onto the battlefield and exiling 2 more things. Well, you don't exile 2 things because you didn't cast it, but still. This has haste, and whenever a creature you control with haste attacks, create a tap token, treasure token. So everything we blitz out has haste, and we'll create a treasure token. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Little card draw there. Unleash the Inferno. This thing's real nice. Deals 7 damage to target creature or planeswalker. When it does excess damage, destroy target artifact or enchantment and opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to the amount of excess damage. Comes in handy. Really comes in handy. Destroys pesty artifacts, pesty creatures, and yeah. So Torre, the Incinerator. This card's real nice. Sacrifice another creature. When you do, deals damage. And when you do, it deals damage to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. So play that card a couple times, and that treasure tokens come in handy. Now this card just makes it so our creature spells can't be countered, because even if you blitz it, it can be countered. Discard a card, you may cast a creature card from your graveyard, so it allows us to recycle this. Recycle cards from our graveyard. So even if we discard a creature, we can just play it the next turn by discarding something else. And just allows our hand to be more bigger than just 7 cards. And whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste. So if it's coming out the graveyard, we already know we swing it in. We can also blitz out the graveyard. So target creature gains Undying until end of turn. Same thing, comes back with a +1/+1 counter. But sacrifice it, get it back. And basically, that's how this deck goes, is you just play big creatures, try and get stuff out, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, deals damage equal to its power to any target. Good old Arcane Signet, a nice little hideaway. Choose target creature cards from your graveyard. Sacrifice a creature. If you do, return those chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. So this basically allows us to bring back any 2 cards from our graveyard by sacrificing 1 creature. So if we blitz out something, sacrifice it, we get to draw a card from it, and we get 2 creatures back from our graveyard. So it's a win-win. Now this is one of my favorite cards, Rush to Rebirth, because I don't really see black-green do what this does. And choose target creature. When that creature dies this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser mana value, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. So when we're blitzing out, of course it's going to die, but this allows us to look for something else. And you see the high mana cost we have, so we have plenty of things we can look at. And this is just another sacrifice salad, but allows us to look at the top X cards of our library, where X is that creature's mana cost. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. So this allows us to get stuff from the top of our library, from sacrificing something we blitzed out. And even if we do sacrificing from this, it'll allow it to, it's blitz trigger to trigger, and we'll draw a card first and then search. So Talisman, gotta have it. This, of course, sacrifices the creature outlet, put that card into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library. So it allows us to get creature cards we need. Riveteer Ascendancy. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may return target creature with lesser mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Real nice card. Real nice. As you guys can see, basically this is a graveyard sacrifice deck. We go back and forth, so Be careful with people exiling the graveyard. Another nice little village rites foil. Alternate art. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. We don't mind sacrificing a creature. Another mana dwarf. For 1 green, add a black, deal 1 damage to you. Blasphemous Act in case we don't have anything. Nice little Junji. When it dies, choose 1. Each opponent discards 2 cards and lose 2 life. Put a target non-dragon creature from your graveyard onto the battlefield under control and you lose 2 life. So most likely, we're going to be choosing this second one and get back something from our graveyard. Whenever you cast this spell, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. A lot of recurring from the graveyard. Annihilator 2, whenever this creature attacks, defender player sacrifices 2 permanent. So, if we blitz out this from our commander, first time casting our commander, this costs 8. So on and so forth. Cheaper it is, especially the colorless cards, it gets crazy. But this allows us to bring a card from the graveyard back to the battlefield, but we lose life equal to its converted mana cost. But if we bring back something nasty, then it's worth it. This right here, Woodfall Primus, destroy another target creature. When this creature dies, has persist, gets a -1/-1 counter on it, and basically comes back as a 5/5. So we get to destroy 2 things. Because if we blitz it out, it's going to die either way. Now this card, greater good, sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature power, then discard 3 cards. You're seeing how powerful the card is we have in here. So most likely we're going to be drawing 7, 6, 8, 9, like high mana cost values, plus the cards that we already have in hand. Let's say we have 5 cards in hand, we draw 6. We had 11 cards in hand, we discard 3. We don't mind because we're going through our deck, getting what we have to. Kogla the Titan, when it enters the battlefield, blitz it out, fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Transmarket Altar. Add black, sacrifice a creature, add 3 colorless. So this just allows us to mana ramp. My friend Skylar gave me that. As you see on the channel, nice little swamp mountain. Little tapped land, but this is a life legacy. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power. Good old Avenger of Zendikar. Now, if we blitz this out, we get some plants out, but most likely we're going to play this regular. So that way we can get that landfall trigger and get +1/+1s, just create an army. And pretty nasty. World Breaker. When you cast World Breaker, exile target artifact or land. Reach. You can search this for the colorless because this card has no color. Even though it is green, this card has no color. Kodama's Reach, another ramp. Nice little terminate, can't be regenerated. This card's pretty nice, but when it deals combat damage to a player, you look at the top card of the library, you may put a land card from the top of your library or cast a spell with mana value less than or equal to the damage dealt from the top of your library without paying its mana cost. Cheating out stuff, cheating out stuff, cheating out stuff. Also has a blitz cost. Some more land. You know, gotta have that land base. And this is another card, adds a land. Let me go ahead and flip it on the back so you guys can see that. But either way, I like these type of cards because it can count as a land or it can count as just a regular card, but this one's actually pretty decent. I own a lot of copies of it. So if you see Malakir's Rebirth in anybody's trade miner, just pick it up just because it adds a land and it's an additional card you can actually use in your deck that's actually good. So choose target creature, you lose 2 life until end of turn that creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield under control. It is an instant, so you can instantly do it. And somebody thinks something's going to die, but it's not. Just like this guy. But he allows us to draw 3 cards or middle 3 cards, and it deals damage to opponent equal to the mana value. This card right here, Green Warden of Marasa. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. When it dies, exile it. If you do, return target card from your graveyard. So return 2 cards from 1 card. This allows us to draw when playing anything 4 or greater. Creatures you control have trample. And whenever a creature with 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So we get to draw cards, and have trample. Trample, trample, trample. Another ramp. Some more land. Gotta have that land base. Now this card, when it enters the battlefield, card art Doom Scourge. Creatures your opponent controls attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. Whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So this just allows us to get rid of an opponent's board so we can swing in with our blitz. Good old Soul Ring. Coming on to the end of the deck. Last little card. Put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Activate this ability only during your turn, before attackers are declared. So this just allows us to recycle cards by tapping this. And blitz something out, tap this, bring it back out, blitz it again the same time. That's it for this, guys. That was the deck. Let me know in the comments if you like it. Till next time, peace out.